Hi, I'm Patrick Tuttle, the real estate guy with Legacy Real Estate Services, and on today's episode of FAQ Friday, we're talking about evictions and leases, and I'll be right back with the answers. Okay, so welcome back. So today's episode, we're talking about evictions. Now, we do property management here in El Paso, Texas, and right now we've got about 275 properties that we manage for other people, and occasionally we have to evict somebody. Now, I can tell you that we've got a very, very low eviction rate. Out of the 275 properties, we've only evicted one tenant this year, which puts us in I can't do the math on that off my head, sorry, but it's very low. I mean, it's like 0.02% of the properties that we manage that we have to evict somebody on. But the question is what happens in the eviction process? And the typical thing is the tenant has defaulted on the lease by not paying the rent. Now that's the typical. There's a lot of different things in the lease that we use that they could default on, but usually it has to do with non-payment of rent. And we have to follow the lease, and we have to follow the Texas property code in the eviction process. All of our leases, the tenants are supposed to pay the rent on the 1st, and the rent is late after the 3rd of the month. So if it comes to the 4th, then they get a nasty-gram that says, congratulations, you're in default. Now you have to pay the late fee, and if you continue and not pay the rent, we're going to pay you. You're going to charge a additional late fee every day. If by the 8th of the month they've not paid, then we're going to send a get out, a quit, notice to quit. And that's where we're sending it to the property, telling them you've got 1 day to move out. And by law, we've got to give them at least 1 day. If they're already gone, then we can take the property over. If they're not gone, we've got to give them the notice, and then we'll give them a little bit of extra time. But if by the 12th of the month the tenant hasn't paid rent, then we have to go to the Justice of the Peace office and file for what's called a writ of possession and a forcible entry detainer. Now, what we're trying to do is get the property back for you, the landlord, so that we can get it rented and we can get somebody in there that will pay rent. Now, the problem is that the majority of our landlords that we represent have a mortgage on their property, and they're depending on that money from the rent to come in to pay the mortgage. Now, even though this is not recommended, that's the actuality of it, and most of our landlords are living paycheck to paycheck with regard to paying their mortgage from the rent that comes in. So if the tenant doesn't pay, the landlord either has to dig into savings to pay, or they may be in default on their mortgage, which is a snowball effect, and it's a bad thing. And we're going to ask for money because we have to go pay fees to the Justice of the Peace. And here's a list of what some of these fees can do. Okay, so first off, the initial notice to vacate. We've got to go out to the property. It could cost up to $150 to do that. Eviction filing with the Justice of the Peace could be another $150. Court fees to appear in front of the Justice of the Peace if we have to go to court, another $46 plus. Court appearance for the owner, $150 to no limit, because we don't know how much time we're going to sit there in court. We have to drive to court, represent the owner there. I did one yesterday. The JP's office is an hour away from my office. So I collect for going over there and coming back, and the time that I'm sitting there. I had a minimum of 3 hours there, and that gets billed out to the owner, because when I'm working for that owner, I am not earning any money for anything else. So that gets billed out to the owner. Next thing, writ of possession from the sheriff or the constable. We have to pay the constable or the sheriff to go out to the property to deliver that notice to the tenant. Tenant move-out fees could be $150 to $600, so you can see how all of these things add up. We have systems in place to protect you as the owner, and the best thing that you can do is to allow us to try to get you a good tenant in, and then if this happens, one thing that we've begun offering this year is an eviction assurance plan, where if we have to evict the tenant on your behalf, I will actually pay the costs on your behalf to make sure that we get the tenant out and then get you compensated for those fees. So, depending on which management plan you're on, whether you're the silver plan, that's going to be an additional $9 a month for the eviction assurance. If you're on the gold plan, it's going to be an additional $6 a month. And if you're on the platinum plan, it's going to be included in your plan, and you don't have to worry about this. If I have to evict a tenant on your behalf, I'm going to pay all of the fees to get the tenant out, and it's not going to cost you anything other than what you're paying in your regular management fees or the additional fee for the eviction assurance. Now, if you'd like to talk to me about this and see how that could benefit you, if you're one of our current owners, if you're a landlord considering making a change, or if you're a private landlord and you want to continue to self-manage, but you want to talk to me about how this stuff works, please pick up the phone and call me. 915-588-1850 is my cell number. I'd be happy to visit with you about this and show you how this can benefit you if your tenant has to be evicted at some point in the future. Or you can hit me online, patrick@patricktuttle.com. Thanks for watching. God bless you, and make it a great day. Bye-bye.